The DuPont Theater, brought to you by DuPont, makers of better things for better living through chemistry. Nearly everything in our daily lives is improved by chemistry, from transportation to the clothes we wear. Chemistry helps bring us better food, makes our homes more beautiful, more comfortable, helps protect our health, and adds to the enjoyment of our leisure time. Now, tonight's story on the DuPont Theater.
This story is based on fact. It is a story of today. It is a story of America. Yet, it begins in Italy. High in the hills above Naples stands the ancient village of Patina. And here stands the home of Camillo Roccini, Professor Roccini, teacher of music. It was an exciting moment in the life of the Roccini family. They had just received a letter from far-off America. A letter from Nicolo, the oldest son. Nicolo had arrived in America at last. He was one of the many teenage exchange students who annually come from some 34 different countries to live with American families and to spend their senior year in an American high school.
Hope we haven't kept him waiting.
That's probably.
Hey, he's a nice-looking boy.
Are you Nicolo Roccini?
Yes.
I'm William Dircks, Nicolo. Mr. Galati, the head of the American Field Service in New York, has probably briefed you.
Oh, yes.
I'm chairman of the local group.
Oh, yes, you are the teacher in high school, I will attend.
That's right. And this is the man in whose home you lived during your stay in America, Mr. Watson.
I'm glad to see you, Nicole.
Thank you very much. I have been very much anticipating also.
Do you have any baggage checks?
This is everything.
Well, then, come on, son. Let's go home.
How was the trip?
Oh, magnificent. America is so big. This I had anticipated from my studies geographical, but to actually see with my own eyes, I think perhaps I am still dreaming.
Then we'll try not to awaken you, son. Come on.
Hey, Mom. How do you say his name again?
Nicolo.
Isn't there a shorter way to say it, like Nick?
Nicolo.
Okay, Mom.
Wonder what he's gonna be like.
Like any other boy, I suppose. A boy's a boy.
So I found out. I hope he's going to like us.
Anybody home?
Oh, hello, Johnny.
Smell that turkey all the way next door.
Johnny, how do I look?
I don't know. What's with the hairdo? And why all the perfume? How about that, Miss Watson?
Well, we want to give Nicolo a good impression, don't we?
Which won't be so easy with you around.
Johnny, you will make him feel welcome, won't you?
Sure, I was just teasing Martha. I think this exchange student program is a swell idea. I'd like to put in to go to Europe myself, maybe next year. You know, the 3-month program for American kids over there.
With your grades?
What's the matter with my grades?
Well, Nicolo's an honor student. He had to win a competition with thousands of other Italian kids to have his application accepted. It's not that easy, Johnny.
So I'll make like an Einstein.
He's here.
Hooray, hooray.
Come on. Well, Nicolo, here it is.
This is your house? Just for your family?
That's right.
No palazzo. Oh, excuse me, I forget I am to speak only English. This is a palace.
Well, hardly that. But we're glad you like it.
And you got a room upstairs.
A room all to myself?
Overlooks the garden.
I am very fond of flowers.
Well, then you and Mrs. Watson will have a great deal in common. Those are her handiwork.
Nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
My mother is most happy when she works in the garden.
Well, you must be hungry after that long trip. Georgie, show Nicolo his room so he can freshen up before dinner. It's all ready.
Okay. Come on, Nick.
Georgie, take his bag.
Okay, let's go, Nick.
Then you've not actually made up your mind.
No. It depends. If I had the qualifications, then I will become a teacher. Only, in Italy, the profession of teacher is not a highly paid occupation.
Well, I'm afraid that's pretty much true everywhere, Nicolo.
Not in America.
Here also.
But I thought that in America, everyone made a great deal of money. I am very much surprised.
If you had your absolute choice of anything you could do when you graduate from college, what would you pick out?
That is an easy one to answer. I would become a writer.
Well, that's a coincidence. Martha's very fond of writing. Dear, why don't you show Nicolo some of your articles the school papers publish?
Oh, I don't think they'd interest him.
But they would, very much.
All right, I will sometime. Say, I've got an idea. Why don't you write some pieces for the paper? You know, impressions of America and stuff like that. Isn't that a wonderful idea, Mr. Dircks?
Yes, it is. Might make a very interesting series. But why don't you give him a little time here first?
Well, Nicolo, looks like you've come to the right spot. You should feel right at home.
That is just how I feel. You are very wonderful. All of you. You have made me feel like one of the family already.
Well, aren't you? You'll be living with us for a whole year.
I don't know how.
It's easy. Now watch my feet. Oh, you're doing fine. Now,
Hey, you guys, look at this. Come on. Come on. That's it, man. Come on,
And so the process of educating Nicolo Roccini Italian into the customs and ways of America began. The exchange student program was started by the American Field Service in 1947. The object of the program is not to convert foreign students into Americans, but to promote a better understanding of the American way of life. Their formal studies in school are only incidental to this broader program. Yes, Jane.
I have a question to ask Nicolo.
All right, Jane, we have time for one more.
I enjoyed your articles very much, all of them, in fact. They're so full of praise. What I want to know is, haven't you anything to criticize in America? Don't hold out on us, Nick. We can take it.
It is not so much criticism as, how shall we say, differences.
Do you care to answer the question, Nicolo? You don't have to if you don't want to.
What you just said, I don't have to. This, to a European like myself, is the thing astonishing, very refreshing, very inspiring. I don't have to. You see, this is what strikes me so forcibly. In Italy, there is no such thing as I don't have to. It is everything I have to. Now, if I were to suggest to be critical, I would say this: I don't have to can sometimes be not so good.
How do you mean?
There is times one can feel too much I don't have to. Everyone speaks here of fun in a way that I do not yet comprehend. In Italy, it is very difficult to receive an education. In most cases, impossible. It is something we value highly, that we work very hard for.
You think we don't?
That was not my meaning. There seems not to be the same seriousness of attitude. You have so much concentration on sports, for example. The baseball, the track meets, the football.
And what's the matter with sports?
I did not say anything was the matter. I am merely trying to point out, maybe your way is much better. I don't know, but this is what I meant by differences.
Well, that's it. Very interesting, Nicolo. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow.
You were terrific, Nick. And wipe that worried look off your face. There's such a thing as being too serious.
Thanks, Martha.
Oh, Oh, Nicolo. That was quite a lively discussion we had.
I hope I did not offend.
Of course not. You meant it in good faith, and I'm sure it was received that way. Nicolo, I've been waiting to tell you. These compositions of yours show a very real and expressive talent.
You think so?
Keep writing. You may find it your real career. This composition of yours on the importance of education. The approach is very original and very effective. I'm going to enter it in the statewide high school essay contest next week. That is, if I have your permission. Well, do I?
Oh, yes, I am very honored. Thank you. How did you know?
We looked it up in your school record.
Do you like it? I picked it out. I helped.
It is very handsome. Now I will feel just like an American.
I think you'll find this is the nicest remembrance of all.
A letter from home. This was made by my brother, Antonio. He is the artist in the family. He's same age as you, Georgie.
Well, you seem to be a very talented family.
Thank you. This is too long to read now. I don't know how to thank you. Who to thank?
Actually, you can thank Mike.
Mike?
Mm-hmm. Mike. This is Mike, otherwise known unofficially as the patron saint of the Watson family. He takes care of all our little emergencies, such as birthdays, Christmas, and a week's vacation in the mountains every year.
Well, don't look so mystified, Nick. All my husband means is that Mike is the family bank.
No, I maintain he's more than that. You see, Mike here is a symbol and a reminder. A few years ago, we were caught short around Christmas time. So we learned a lesson. I found Mike here in a little second-hand shop, and we've all contributed to his sustenance ever since. You'd be surprised how $1 here and $1 there mounts up over the months. Even little old Georgie here, he contributes 10 cents a week.
To Steve.
That's right. I forgot I upped your allowance. And Martha here puts in 10% of her clothing allotment. Mrs. Watson, oh, well, whatever's left of the household account. And I have found that fewer cigars and a little less lunch have improved my health considerably.
We have such a bank at home. A carved box from my grandmother. That is how we saved the money so I could come to America. Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Well, let's cut the cake.
Hey, shouldn't we wait for Johnny?
Oh,
What's happened to him, anyhow?
Well, I forgot to tell you, Johnny couldn't make it. He's got a club date. But he sent you many happy returns.
Nick, the cake.
My son, I am writing you this because your father is unable to. My heart is heavy that on this your birthday, I must send you unhappy news.
We will return to our play right after tonight's story of DuPont Chemistry.
Hello, I'm Bill Shipley. Did you ever know a man who dreamed of owning his own business? Well, here's Tex Antoine, the popular cartoonist, to tell you about just such a fellow.
Thank you, Bill. And we'll call our hero here Mr. John Q. McQuiz, who sat down one evening to talk over this business proposition with his ever-loving wife. And he said, now, honey, I don't mean any of this little hamburger stand routine either, because I've got $5,000 to invest, and I'm going to do something big. Big like what, she said, as John unwrapped a pack of cigarettes. Well, he said, big like this, and handed her the cellophane wrapper off the cigarettes. I'm going to manufacture cellophane. You know, back in high school, I used to be pretty good in chemistry, and I'll bet you that I could make cellophane right here on your kitchen stove. And she said, well, I don't doubt that you could, honey, but by making it in such small quantities, it would probably cost you $50 a pound. Look, the 3 companies that make cellophane in this country are big enough to supply the 400 million pounds this country uses every year. And by being big enough to fill that demand, they have gotten the price down to just 60 cents a pound. Now, to build a plant large enough and to pay for the tools and equipment necessary, honey, your little $5,000 would be just a drop in the bucket. It takes thousands of stockholders to put up the huge sums necessary to pay for all of these things. Why, at DuPont alone, there are about 167,000 stockholders. All right, said John, I'll get my own stockholders. I'm going to incorporate. Oh, now, look, dearie, she said. People invest their money in the hope that they're going to make money. Just exactly who would invest their money in you when you have absolutely no experience in making cellophane? But remember, you don't have to make cellophane. Hundreds of companies take the cellophane that DuPont makes and fabricate it into specialty items like soda straws or ribbons or lollipop sticks or party favors. They depend on large cellophane companies like DuPont to supply them with their basic material, and in turn the big companies depend on them to supply us with all of these wonderful items. John said, I think I know what you mean. In other words, some companies have to be big so that small companies like myself can exist, and I'm going to start today. And the first thing I'm going to make is a great big cellophane bag to keep you in so that I'll never, never lose you.
Now, we're not necessarily suggesting that you imitate Mr. McQuiz, but there are hundreds of American business firms, large and small, who do make things out of cellophane and other DuPont materials, helping DuPont bring you better things for better living through chemistry.
And now back to the DuPont Theater.
Hey, Nick, you want a lift? You going our way?
No, no thanks.
What gives with him? Skip it.
Let's go down.
Oh, Nick. Hi. What are you trying to do, Nick? Avoid me?
You know better than that.
But I don't know anything of the kind. I hardly ever see you anymore except at meal times. What gives, Nick? And when I do see you, you've got your nose in some old textbook.
But I've got to study.
All the time? That's no good. You've got to take time out to play.
Play? Is that all you think about? Play? Please, Martha, I didn't mean that.
But you said it.
I'm sorry.
What's the matter, Nick?
Nothing's the matter. Please, Martha, try to understand. My time in America is short.
Sorry, Nick, did I hurt you?
This amuses you, Johnny?
Hey, wait a minute. I didn't do it on purpose.
For the love of Mike, Johnny, how could you help see Nick? He was right in front of you.
Listen, you two. Before you blew up a storm, it's a Ford Pass. I was running to catch it, and I didn't even see... Oh, what's the use? Believe what you want.
Please, Martha, do not fight with Johnny because of me.
May I come in?
Oh, yes.
Nick, I'm worried about you. You study too much.
Is that why you came to, how you say, bawl me out?
No, but I honestly think I should. No, this is the real reason I came in.
A letter from home?
Yes, the mailman just brought it. Well, you'll want to be alone when you read it. Nick, how's everything going these days?
Fine, fine.
Of course it is. Because if it weren't, you'd naturally tell us. Oh, let me help you, Georgie.
I got it, Mom.
I should have known better than to try spaghetti.
But I tell you it is good, only I have a headache. I don't feel too well. Please, would you excuse me? I would like to go for a walk.
Certainly, Nick. Anything you want.
Thank you. Excuse me.
What's got into him, Pop?
Never mind, Georgie. Why don't we just come right out and ask him?
No, let me. I'll just say, Nick, you mad at us or something?
No, dear, I don't think it's anything we've done. Looking back, he's been acting strange ever since he got that letter from home on his birthday.
Helen, you're right.
And today, he received another.
Probably something gone wrong at home. Don't you worry about it, Helen. I'll have a talk with him later.
But are you sure the letter today was definite?
Yes. He went to the hospital the same day my mother wrote to me.
It's only natural you should be worried. But actually, an operation for cataracts isn't necessarily that serious. What can you accomplish by going home?
I can help. I can work.
But your mother insists they want you to stay.
But how can I stay here, living and eating like un baroni, when my mother, she will have to find employment? I must return to Italy. It is the only way.
Nicolo, your parents want you to stay.
They have made enough sacrifices. I must return home.
Well, if you've made up your mind, I'll get in touch with Mr. Galati, the head of the American Field Service in New York.
Well, how long will it take to get his answer?
Shouldn't take long.
But he will send me home?
I can't say until I hear from him.
Oh, Nick. Nick, I've been waiting for you. I'm sorry about today.
Forget it. It was an accident.
I'm not so sure it was. I mean, maybe I could have missed you if I'd tried. Maybe I didn't want to.
That's okay, Johnny. I know what you mean. Johnny, about Martha. I like her too. You know, I mean, we are fine friends, but with you, I know it is different. It is okay if maybe you have been a little jealous, but believe me, no reason.
You're okay, Nick.
You're okay too, Johnny. I tell you something, I like you a lot. I hope we are always friends.
Sure.
Good night.
So long, Nick.
What brings you here at this time of night?
It's about Nicolo. I want to talk to you.
Sure. Come on in. So that's it. Why didn't he come to me? Certainly can't have much confidence in me.
Quite the opposite. He's very fond of you. Very fond of all of you. And tremendously grateful for the way you've accepted him into your home.
Grateful? If there's any gratitude, it's on our side, believe me. He's a fine boy, and it's been a rewarding experience having him here. But why didn't he come to Helen and me with it?
He said he didn't want to worry you.
Poor kid. Well, as soon as Helen gets him up, we'll have a good long talk.
Harvey! Harvey, he's gone.
What do you mean he's gone?
He's run away. He says he's going to New York to see Mr. Galati personally.
These compositions of yours show a very real and expressive talent.
Well, Nicolo, looks like you've come to the right spot. You should feel right at home.
Don't hold out on us, Nick. We can take it.
It's only natural you should be worried.
Of course it is. Because if it weren't, you'd naturally tell us.
Why don't they call?
Take it easy, Harv.
Sit down, dear, and have some coffee. Everything possible is being done to find him.
If anything happens to that boy,
Have your coffee, dear.
What will the American Field Service say about this, Bill?
Don't worry. They would understand.
Well, you explain the circumstances. I'll accept the full responsibility.
I'm sorry, Mr. Watson. I couldn't go through with it. I realized that if I did this, I'd be letting everyone down.
Never mind about that, boy. Thank heaven you're home.
Feel better now?
Come on, Nick, smile. Remember what I said about being too serious?
Would you leave Nick and me alone for a minute?
Certainly, dear.
Everything's going to be all right, Nick.
Nick, I want you to do me a favor.
Anything you wish, Mr. Watson. I can never repay you for your kindness.
Oh, I think you can. You can make me a very happy man. As a matter of fact, you can make us all very happy.
What is it you wish me to do?
Well, instead of taking help from the field service, give us the satisfaction.
But you have helped. You have done so much already. Anyway, there is nothing more to be done. I must return to Italy and find a job and help to support my family.
And, you refuse to do us this favor.
Refuse? I do not understand. What can I do?
Let us send your family the money you hope to earn by quitting school and going to work.
Oh, no, that would be too much. I cannot accept.
Oh. All right. Okay. I'll call my wife and Martha in and you tell them. I can't. I just couldn't stand to see their disappointment.
But, Mr. Watson,
No, I just haven't got the heart to tell them that you turned us down. They were so happy in the idea of really putting Mike to work.
But I can never repay.
Oh, yes, you can. By letting us share a dream.
And so for his final day in an American classroom, we've invited Nicolo's closest friends to be with us. Nicolo?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is a great honor, and I am very happy that my essay won first prize. I wish I had now the essay to write. When I wrote it before, I wrote on the importance of education. This was about the education we get from books. It is a fine education we get from books, but I have found there is a more important education. There is the education we get from people. When I came to America, I was very much lacking in this education. This I now understand. It is easy for a European to misunderstand America. We are blinded by your wealth. Sometimes we fail to see the great heart underneath. It is only when we are in trouble that we become familiar with your heart. This is the real education for one such as I, to come to know Americans as people. Now, what I have learned here I will take home to Italy. It has taught me that all of us, no matter what country we are born in, are human beings, brothers and sisters, all one family. Now this is the last time I will see all of you. I am proud and happy that you have given me your heart, that you made me one of you.
The sparkle of youth in her home makes Anne Harding's life bright again in The House of Empty Rooms next week on the DuPont Theater. Brought to you by the DuPont Company of Wilmington, Delaware, makers of better things for better living through chemistry.